Hello fellow car fighters, this is Blaster Mez doing a quick little video to show that a lot of older support in car fight Vanguard such as Jewel Knights are still feasible and play regardless. I know a lot of people might be wondering it, and there's also players that are currently saying nah, the newer stuff is better. It's true that newer stuff can be more better and aggressive, but still older stuff still can work and be just as aggressive, especially depending on the new Shrine units or what is your lineup on grade 1s, 2s, and 3s, depending on how it supports the deck. As you've seen Sanctuary Guard Dragon, if you saw the replay that well, not replay, but the live play I did with it, it still proved to be an aggressive deck using Jewel Knight support as well as Sanctuary Guard in it. I also have a couple of plays where I'm using the new Sanctuary Archer in it, but it still just shows that Carfight Vanguard still has a level of newer stuff doesn't mean you always guarantee to win. Basically, I want to say Yu-Gi-Oh, it shows newer stuff because they make it so stupid dumb the way it works. It will still be will become the new current top tier deck. And let's see. And as you see, this is me playing against an opponent that's going to be using a gold paladin deck. And when I made this deck, this one I just made it straight focus on activating Limit Break very early, so that way I could use Limit Break from the immediate get-go, and that pushes my opponent back. For actually reverse to just counterblast, lock one of my units, and I get to make a unit. Before, when I first saw this card, I remember I said to my friends, this card was not really good when I looked at Astral Reverse. A lot of them said I was crazy. And you know what? They were right, I was crazy. It's better than what I thought it is, because at that point when Astral Reverse came out, I seen it as not too good, as in it kills one unit in order to create another unit, and you lose supporting the attacking front row. So, hey, I was proven wrong and I played it more. Of course, the deck proved not to like me when I played it at regional. And it's like, yeah. But I stayed on my opponent pretty early, went aggressive, as you've seen, getting out Swords Me, using Jewel Knight Olin, which is probably still one of the highest common Jewel Knight cards because it only came in the structure deck for Daigo. And as you see, I already just broke Ride because I used Swordsby to just get out the assembly, and Swordsby just fix a lot of problems. And I'm also using Pure Wind Jewel Knight here because he's a unit that when you intercept with him, he becomes a 15k shield. As long as you have 3 or more Jewel Knights on the board, and that's pretty good. And as you see, I accidentally Superior Rided over him while my opponent is playing Scissoring Ezel. Salvation wise, my correction. Well, it was called Scissor Ezel when it came out, but I stayed on top of him, kept him back at a limit, and then I just came in aggressively. I should have strode that turn, but, and as you see, I just completely take him right out pretty aggressively, stayed on top of him, with early pressure thanks to his Swords Me make an additional column and just throwing out one unit. So that fixes a lot of gapping errors in Jewel Knights with Swords Me. So I expect that card to stay up high regardless. If there's any newer Jewel Knight support besides Bart, which I also had in this deck, he is a pretty good card just to call him out on the field, and in turn you get a +1 draw as long as you have 3 or more Jewel Knights, and you can shuffle them back into the deck. I say, if anything, if you want to add to this deck, if you make the deck yourself, add Encourage Angel, which is one of the generation break units from set 1, I believe, or set 2 for Carfight Vanguard G series. No, set 1. Because its ability is when it's placed on rear guard circle, it gets 3,000 to 2 units, and then you can put it back into the deck. With both Bart and her, where you can put 2 cards back in the deck, that's sending back 2 triggers so you can recycle. And when she comes out, you get a standing unit with that effect of when you reveal her. And then you have Bart, that's also a recycled critical trigger. Recycling 2 triggers back in the deck may be pretty good if you start out early with a good big hand and you stride. But I'm gonna keep playtesting a lot more Jewel Knight more just to see, especially seeing soon we're getting closer to the release of set 4 Soul Strike against the Supreme, and we'll see if there's any more Jewel Knight units that might be in there randomly. Who knows? Maybe they might just splash in a random Ashley unit, which I doubt. But the next unit I think I seen in the list and reveal was going to be a common, so it might be a Jewel Knight, might not be a Jewel Knight. Until then, this is Blaster Mez. Thank you for watching. Signing out.